Hey artists, it's Kelly Folsom here, and I am doing rapid fire what is off with my painting, giving you some tips and ideas how to fundamentally improve your painting, your specific painting. So this is going to be rapid fire. I don't know who these artists are as far as I know. This is totally anonymous. And if you want to participate in this, you can submit your painting for free below and for a chance to get some feedback on your paintings. Okay, so let's dive in right away. The theme today, the focus is going to be, we had a bunch of floral paintings that were submitted. So this is really, really beautiful, this piece here. I love the light against light in the background. I love that the lights feel like they are not just straight white or not just gray. So there's some really nice color mixing going on in here. The number one technical thing I would point out is just to make sure that whatever the table is that this vase of flowers is sitting on, that it feels like there's enough room behind for that vase to sit on. Otherwise, it can start to feel a little bit almost like, oh, is it going to fall off the table? So one very quick adjustment I would consider making for this artist to make is just to raise this table edge up a little bit higher back here. Not that I'm doing the right color, but just so that you can get an idea of, how far up maybe you want to raise that table up. So, but the biggest thing, this is the biggest key takeaway, is no matter how beautifully you paint a subject, if the composition is not compelling enough, then all of that work that you put into creating this beautiful light and form is going to be a bit lost because the composition is a little too unconsidered, right? So in this case, everything's kind of right in the middle of the painting, and there's so much empty space on the left and the right and on the table that it doesn't feel like it's intentional empty space. It feels a little bit like, unconsidered space, which is not a good thing whenever it comes to composing a still life. So what this artist might consider doing is maybe, and even like the table is kind of pointing us right to the middle of the painting. And so there's just like a lot of dead space happening. So you might even consider maybe the table, I don't know, maybe the table extends a bit so that this brings in some more asymmetry, so that it doesn't feel quite also just right in the middle, right? So centered, maybe keeping one edge of the table on this side or an angle if you like that. But really, I think you would need to add in something else down here to kind of balance this composition, whether it could be anything. It could be a book, it could be another flower, it could be a bowl, something that feels cohesive with what you're trying to do. But basically there needs to be something else in this picture to kind of balance it out. So let's say if we had another flower with some foliage on the tabletop plane, and someone you might look at that is really was a phenomenal floral artist would be Fantin Latour, who is a French artist. And he did so many floral compositions, floral still lifes. But, we could see how, I would just say, start thinking about, what is your linear design? How are you going to move the eye through this rectangle, instead of just pointing people directly, here's the thing right in the middle, and that's it, because otherwise it's like, why would you have all that empty space, So start to think about how you want to move the eye through the picture. You know, sometimes it can be simple things like scattered petals or a fallen leaf. But for example, do I want to move the eye in the picture kind of in this backward C shape, and then it comes back up through here? But you want to think about what is the path of movement on that picture plane, and you want to arrange elements to guide the eye in the path that you're designing. That's going to elevate your work quite a bit if you can start to be more intentional with your compositions. Okay, it could even be something like a fold in the fabric, something really simple that, you know, feels like, but it's intentionally designed. All right, so next up we have, okay, I want to stick with roses. So let's see for now. So that's tulips. And okay, this piece, let me find one that's not one of my lessons. I will talk about these as well, but I want to find some that are not from the painting instruction lessons I have on this website, on my YouTube channel. Okay, so I think that this one is really, really lovely. There's, you know, lovely shape and form to the roses, really pretty colors. Everything feels lovely, harmonious, nice light overall. I think really on this one, again, the composition feels like it can be improved a bit because this side over here does kind of end abruptly, and it kind of all ends like in this shape, like all the contours are kind of lined up, whereas all the rest of the contours have kind of these interesting ins and outs. And then, you know, maybe even doing things like emphasizing, not that you would use this color, but just to illustrate, emphasizing maybe this little bud stem coming down to kind of create some more interesting negative shapes in between your objects. This side I feel like is weakest in that regard. So again, it seems like composition is kind of a theme here. So maybe it's adding another flower to where we have, you know, a more kind of more of these negative shapes in between these flowers. Could also be the green leaves get added in, but I just feel like, you know, there needs to be something else happening over here and not ending so abruptly. So again, kind of considering like what is, maybe there's a leaf here to kind of add in some more interesting overlaps in front of that background. Again, kind of considering like how do you want to break up the space? We're always working with this, you know, rectangle or square. How can we break up that rectangle and square in the most interesting way? So that's really where, you know, I would say to start focusing your attention. Sometimes whenever we're painting still life, we're really focused more on how do I make a flower look like a flower? How do I make the thing look like the thing? And a lot of times we get stuck there and trapped there and have a blind spot that, you know, in terms of like working on our composition and our division of space and really getting more masterful with that. And so I don't want you to get stuck there because it looks like you've built up a nice skill set in terms of, you know, making flowers look like flowers or roses look like roses. So again, I think if you start to think more intentionally about how you are breaking up the space, it will take your pieces to the next level. So whenever I put in leaves on a bouquet that I'm working on, I really think about where those leaves are going to go. How are they helping to, you know, move the eye through the picture or break up the space more intentionally? Okay, so I think that's really, you know, the main thing I want to emphasize here in this rapid fire feedback. Whenever things end all together, you know, or sometimes in landscape, people have things all on the same horizon line, or it just looks like a layered cake and nothing's breaking the horizon line. So that can really start to kill the composition, basically. So, I would be thinking about, do I have like some diagonals going on here that I can play up, or even like whenever I'm changing values, or do I have shapes in the background that can contribute to the breakup of the space as well. So it doesn't always have to be just looking at your bouquet of flowers or the vase, but is there anything going on in the background that you can use to kind of break up the space as well? Okay, let's see. I think let's do this one last, and we'll do these other flowers on a separate video. Okay, so I think this is really, really lovely. Like I say, obviously you've done a really good job on making a rose look like a rose, and you've also got a really strong light and shadow effect that you have created here. So all of that is working really well. I love to see people using good paint quality and making actual brush strokes and using lots of paint. So all of those things you're doing are, winner, winner, chicken dinner. The thing I would caution you on this piece, the thing that might be throwing it off, and maybe why you submitted it, wondering, gosh, why is this piece not like living up to maybe your vision? But the thing I would say is, like, watch out for too much discord between color in your paintings. Meaning, you have a subject matter that is, really these kind of soft pinks, and then silver, and then kind of these emerald greens. Something like a really bold yellow that has a lot of cadmium yellow in it might just steal the show, because really yellow, orange, and bright red are like the most aggressive colors to the rods and cones in our eye. It's the colors that grab our attention the most. If we think of, stoplights or stop signs, or like those bright yellow, orange hazard signs on the roads, there's a reason why things are that color, to get us to pay attention to it, right? Because that's what our human eye does. So there's a discord going on, number one, in the color harmony here, but also just be careful using something like a really bold, rich, bright yellow in an area that there's nothing happening there. Like, why do we want to look at the tabletop? We want to just look at these beautiful roses that you have painted. And so that's really the quick solution here, is to neutralize, the color that is in this tabletop plane. So, it can really be, so anything in this family is going to be too hot of a color. So number one, it's just not harmonious with the rest of the colors you have in your painting, your subject matter. And number two, it's just too vibrant, too hot. We don't really want the viewer hanging out here. So I would, reach for some white to kind of cool off that color. Maybe go for more of a neutral, less of that bright yellow. I don't even know that I would use a yellow ochre for this tabletop plane, but maybe just kind of softening this color, kind of graying it down. I think some of the heat of that is just taking our eye away from the beautiful, beautiful work you've done in the roses and in the picture. Okay, the same thing would go for the background. It's just that, you have kind of neutralized some of that yellow in the background and kind of made it more of like a neutral brown, or even like this has a little bit of that cool red in it. So the background is working better. There's some of that bright yellow that kind of came in here. But you definitely want to think about where you're drawing the eye to. So the eye focuses, number one, on light versus dark, and number two, it focuses on bright warm colors over cool colors. So if your star of the show is a cool color, you don't really want to paint your background in too bright and warm of a color. I hope that that makes sense. Okay, all right. I hope that everyone is enjoying these. Let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway is. That will help you retain the information even better. We know that about learning. If we summarize what we've just learned, we put it into words, what our biggest takeaway is, something that really stuck with us, you will remember it so much better. You're welcome to submit for these critiques. I may not be able to do everyone's. I've already gotten so many people who have submitted, so just keep that in mind. This is absolutely free, and I will be able to get to them whenever I'm able to get to them. And you can do it anonymously, which is really lovely. If you're enjoying these and you really want to take your painting game to the next level, you really, really want to commit to improving your skill set, then join us inside the Art Life School community. You get new lessons every single month. You can participate in a more in-depth critique like these every single month as well. So, all right, without further ado, wishing you all happy painting. Bye for now.